Okay, next video here, how to add a patient to your chart. We finished the dispatch page. We finished the first page here. So go ahead and add a patient. A little slow today. So you start by searching for an existing patient. As we start to use this service more and more, we should have patients being populated into our system, particularly our frequent flyers, so you won't have to actually add them every single time you transport the patient. So just like you were looking for your crew before when we were setting up our crew for the day, you can search for your patient. So let's say we're taking Bill Jones. William Jones is our patient. We can search for William Jones just like this. But if there's no patient in our system by the name of William Jones, we're going to say no records found. Additionally, if you don't necessarily have a name or a full name, you can put information in for any of these fields. You can search by social security number. You can search just by last name. You can search by birthday. You can search by any of these fields here. But if there is no record found, you'll have to click the Add New Patient button. If there is a patient found, and I think we have one in here, there's a Smith. Great. Jim Smith was our patient. Go ahead, click on him, and it'll automatically be imported into this patient screen. Perfect. So if it was a new patient, it would look just like this screen. There just wouldn't be any pre-filled information. And for him, the only pre-filled information is his first name, last name, and address here. So we'll treat this as if it was a new patient. Just pretend that we didn't have any information in here. I'd put in Smith. I would put in Jim. I would put in his social if I knew it. Gender, address. If it's a patient that you don't know their address, they aren't telling you, or they're unconscious or something, you can very easily just click unknown address and it'll gray out these boxes. If you know the patient's weight, you can go ahead and put that in. If you know that this is their date of birth, 1/1/22, it'll automatically calculate their age. So if we do 01/01/1921, it should automatically change this to 96. Perfect. His race. Don't worry about emails or physicians, employer immunizations. We're not really tracking those. Barriers to care can be possibly inputted if you'd like. So if there's some reason that you can't communicate with a patient, either because they are hearing impaired, or they don't speak English, or they are unconscious or uncooperative, you can put all these in here to denote that. If the patient has a DNR, you can click on this little list here, and it will bring up a list of DNR options for the patient. Is it an actual state form? Is it a PULST, an advanced directive, any of these items here? The first time that you do this for any patient, it will be a little bit of a hassle, but once you put it in for a patient, if you ever transport them again, the list will be pre-populated. So you can put in medical history here. And if you're having trouble spelling something, it actually will suggest it as you start writing it. So let's say this person has hyper. All the hypers will come up here. So if you see it, you can choose it. So I see hypertension. So let's choose hypertension. And we will add this. And let's say the patient also has a history of diabetes. We can add it and select done. Internet connection is a little slow. Great, so I have medical history. You can look at his list of medications. Hopefully your internet connection is better than the one that I'm using right now. this is slow. Okay, great. So medications, let's say that patient is on lisinopril. Oops. There we go. For their hypertension. And they are on metformin for diabetes. We'll add it. Done. And we can say that this patient has no allergies by selecting this box here. So if you notice that you accidentally listed a medication that was wrong, what you can do is click on the medication or click on the medical history or click on the allergy, highlight it, and just click the red X here, which will then delete the medication that's listed. The obtained from button, how did you get this information? Did it come from the patient? Did it come from a healthcare professional? Did it come from something else? So we can say that the patient was able to tell us himself. And if we had a list of his medications or some healthcare paperwork, we would put a yes for that. If you realize, uh-oh, this is not the right patient, this is not Jim Smith, you can click on wrong patient, replace patient. This will allow you to search for the patient again. One other thing that I forgot to show you was this little arrow up here. If you're putting in a new patient's information, when you get to the address, this little arrow here will import whatever address you put in to the referring field on page 1. So we put in 68 Sussex Street, so even though it's already listed, say it was 26 Liberty, when I click this button, it would show 26 Liberty if that's what I put in for the referring, and then I can just use this address so you don't necessarily have to type it in every time. Pretty nifty. So this is adding a patient. If you're at an MCI, you can select the patient's triage color, or if it's like a young child that you're using like a Broslow tape for, if you know what that is, you could select this as well for white and blue. For the most part, you would have these colors for your triage tag. So if it was a triage, and then you could put whatever their ID tag was. But we're not going to use that for this patient. All right, so that's adding a patient. We'll cut this video here. We'll go on to the next one, which is looking at the chief complaint and the impression and scene details.